What if I told you there's a plant so loaded with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that scientists have called it the most nutrient-dense botanical on the planet? And yet you could walk through any American neighborhood right now and not find a single person growing it in their backyard? That's exactly the situation with Moringa oleifera, the so-called miracle tree, and if you've never heard of it before today, buckle up. Because your garden and your health are about to change forever. Moringa is not some trendy superfood cooked up in a California wellness lab. It has been feeding and healing communities across South Asia, Africa, and the Philippines for thousands of years. Ancient Ayurvedic texts reference it. Traditional healers across sub-Saharan Africa have relied on it as a nutritional lifeline for generations. Today, the United Nations World Food Programme actively promotes it in regions where malnutrition is a crisis. And yet here in the United States, most home gardeners have never planted a single seed. That disconnect is almost unbelievable when you understand what this herb is truly capable of. Let's talk about what makes Moringa extraordinary from a nutritional standpoint. Because the numbers honestly sound made up until you see them in context. Gram for gram, dried Moringa leaves contain roughly 7 times the vitamin C found in oranges, 4 times the calcium in milk, 4 times the vitamin A in carrots, 2 times the protein in yogurt, and 3 times the potassium in bananas. The leaves are packed with all 9 essential amino acids, making them a complete protein source. Something almost no plant on Earth can claim. They contain powerful antioxidants like quercetin, chlorogenic acid, and beta-carotene. The plant also contains anti-inflammatory compounds that researchers are actively studying for their potential benefits related to blood sugar regulation, cholesterol management, and even cellular protection. Fresh Moringa leaves taste mild, slightly bitter, and earthy, somewhere between spinach and arugula. And they are edible raw in salads, blended into smoothies, stirred into soups, or dried and ground into a powder that you can add to just about anything. Now, here's the part that will absolutely floor any gardener reading this. Moringa is one of the most generous, low-maintenance, self-sufficient plants you will ever grow. Once established in your yard, it drops seeds prolifically. Those seeds germinate enthusiastically. New seedlings spring up around the mother plant season after season, and in warmer climates, this cycle repeats indefinitely, without you lifting a finger beyond that very first planting. It essentially replants itself. In tropical and subtropical regions, Moringa is perennial and can grow into a tree reaching 35 feet tall. In cooler American climates, it's grown as an annual or managed as a container plant brought indoors during winter. Either way, a single packet of seeds can supply your family with fresh, nutrient-dense greens for years, possibly for the rest of your life. So why doesn't anyone in the West grow it? The honest answer is visibility. Moringa doesn't show up at big box garden centers. It's not featured in mainstream American cooking shows. It doesn't look like the vegetables we were raised recognizing as food. But that's changing, as awareness of Moringa's nutritional profile spreads across health communities, farmers markets, and social media. More American home gardeners are discovering what the rest of the world has quietly known for centuries. And once you grow it once, you'll never stop. Getting Moringa started is genuinely simple, even if you're a complete beginner with zero gardening experience. You can start from seed or from stem cuttings, and both methods are quite forgiving. If you're starting from seed, scarify the seed lightly by nicking the outer coating with a nail file, or soaking it in lukewarm water for 24 hours before planting. This softens the hard seed shell and dramatically speeds up germination, which typically happens within 5 to 14 days. Plant seeds about half an inch deep in well-draining potting mix or directly in the ground after your last frost date. Moringa does not like cold, so if you're in USDA zones 9 through 13, you're in luck. You can plant outdoors and watch it grow into a tree. If you're in zones 4 through 8, treat it as a warm season annual. Start seeds indoors 4 to 6 weeks before the last frost and transplant outside once temperatures stay consistently above 50 Fahrenheit. In colder climates, growing Moringa in large containers, 15 to 25 gallons, is a popular and effective strategy because you can move the plant indoors before the first frost hits. When it comes to light, Moringa is not shy about what it needs: full sun, and plenty of it. This plant evolved in the tropical and subtropical zones of northern India, so it is genetically programmed to thrive in heat and high light intensity. Aim for a minimum of 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight daily, and more is always better. If you're growing it indoors or in a greenhouse during winter, position it in the brightest, south-facing window you have, or supplement with a full-spectrum grow light placed 6 to 12 inches above the canopy for 12 to 16 hours per day. Insufficient light is the #1 reason Moringa underperforms for beginner growers. The plant becomes leggy, pale, and slow when it doesn't receive enough sun. If you notice your Moringa stretching toward a light source with weak, spindly growth, that's your cue to move it to a brighter spot. Or add artificial lighting. Temperature is the other critical factor you need to nail down, especially in American climates where cold snaps and unexpected frosts can surprise even experienced gardeners. Moringa thrives in temperatures between 77 Fahrenheit and 95 Fahrenheit and genuinely loves hot, dry conditions that would stress most garden plants. It can tolerate short periods down to about 50 Fahrenheit, but anything below 32 Fahrenheit will kill young plants and damage the above-ground portion of mature trees. The good news is that established Moringa trees in zones 9 and above often regenerate from their root systems even if the above-ground growth dies back in a mild frost. In zones with cold winters, the safest approach is to treat it as an annual or bring container-grown plants indoors to a heated space before temperatures drop. Even a garage or basement with a grow light can keep your Moringa alive and producing through the coldest months. Watering Moringa correctly is where many beginner growers go wrong, and the mistake is almost always overwatering rather than underwatering. This plant is native to semi-arid regions and has evolved deep, drought-tolerant roots that store moisture efficiently. The golden rule for Moringa watering is to water deeply and then wait. After planting, water generously to help establish roots, but then allow the top 2 to 3 inches of soil to dry out completely before watering again. During the active growing season, in summer, this might mean watering once or twice a week depending on your climate. In cooler weather or indoors during winter, watering every 10 to 14 days is often more than sufficient. The single biggest threat to Moringa roots is root rot caused by consistently wet, poorly draining soil. Always use containers with drainage holes if growing in pots, and amend garden soil with perlite or coarse sand if your native soil tends to hold water. When in doubt, wait another day before watering. Moringa will forgive a dry day far more readily than a soggy week. Feeding your Moringa helps unlock its full potential, though this is a plant that will produce even in lean soil compared to most vegetables. For the best growth, apply a balanced slow-release fertilizer at the beginning of the growing season, then follow up with a phosphorus-rich fertilizer every 4 to 6 weeks to support root development and overall vigor. Organic options like compost, worm castings, and fish emulsion work wonderfully and align well with the idea of growing a food crop you'll actually eat. Avoid over-applying nitrogen, which will push excessive leafy growth at the expense of stem strength. One of the most important practices for managing Moringa's growth and boosting leaf production is regular pruning. Moringa grows fast, sometimes several feet per month in peak summer heat. And left unpruned, it quickly becomes a tall, spindly tree with leaves concentrated high up where they're hard to harvest. Prune the main leader back by 1/3 every 4 to 6 weeks during the growing season to encourage a bushy, multi-branched structure with leaves at a harvestable height. Each cut point will push out 2 to 4 new branches, exponentially increasing your leaf harvest over time. Regular harvesting of the young shoots and leaves itself acts as a gentle pruning and keeps the plant productive and compact. The most common problems growers encounter with Moringa in American gardens are relatively minor and easy to solve. Root rot from overwatering is the biggest threat and is almost entirely preventable. With proper drainage and a patient watering schedule, aphids occasionally colonize young shoots and can be knocked off with a firm stream of water or treated with diluted neem oil spray. Spider mites appear in hot, dry indoor conditions. Increase humidity and apply neem oil to deter them. Yellowing leaves often indicate either overwatering, insufficient light, or a mild nitrogen deficiency, and identifying which of the three is causing the issue usually requires checking your watering schedule and sun exposure first before reaching for fertilizer. Moringa is not attractive to deer in the same way many other garden plants are, and pest pressure overall is refreshingly low compared to vegetables like tomatoes or squash. In terms of harvest, you can begin picking young leaves as soon as the plant reaches about 18 to 24 inches tall. The youngest, most tender leaves at the growing tips are the most palatable fresh, while older leaves lower on the stem are perfect for drying and grinding into powder. The seed pods, called drumsticks, are edible and delicious in curries and soups. Even the seeds can be eaten or pressed for their oil. This is a plant where essentially every part serves a purpose, which makes it one of the most genuinely valuable additions you can make to an edible garden. Growing moringa is more than a gardening project. It's a decision to reconnect with one of humanity's oldest food traditions, to give your family access to a nutritional resource that much of the Western world has overlooked for too long, and to work with a plant that is generous, resilient, and astonishingly productive. You don't need special tools, a large yard, or years of experience. You need seeds, sunlight, well-draining soil, and a little patience. The moringa will do the rest. If you love learning about seasonal flowering plants, vegetables, gardening tips, and nature care, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Nature Nurture Hub, your home for year-round garden inspiration. Let's keep growing together.